Hey everyone, here we are back in the garage with the 86 300 ZX Turbo behind me there. And on today's video, we're going to be looking at seeing if we can do a repair, restoration on the rear spoiler. All right, so I think it was episode 28 where we took the rear spoiler off and the lights in the bumper and everything. So it's pretty much the last thing to go back on the car now. And you'll see I've got some tape across here. It's because I've been marking out the shape of the back of the liftgate there. There's a curved shape. And I'll show you what I'm trying to do here to repair the spoiler that came off the car. All right, so this may look a bit like a piece of torture equipment, but this is looking at the inside of the rear spoiler. Now, this is an 86 Turbo Canadian car, and this is the rear spoilers that have a metal subframe, and then they're overmolded with a rubber foam type material, so the soft ones, before they went to the rigid fiberglass ones. And it's interesting, I posted up before that I thought this was the wrong spoiler, and someone had swapped it because an 86 would have the third brake light, which was only in the fiberglass spoilers. And I got told by quite a few people, Canadian Facebook page, that indeed the 86s in Canada were sold with this 84, 85 style spoiler, and we got no third brake light on that car, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, this one is in really not great shape, and I'm surprised at that because the rest of the car is ridiculously rust-free. I'm sure there's a story. I don't even know if this is original to the car or not. But anyway, these ones are hard to come by. They're very hard to find in decent shape. So I'm having a go at doing a repair. And what the repair is this here is the curve across the back of the hatch. So when I put that tape on and marked out, what I did is I took a piece of 2x4 and I cut it to the shape. And what I found is when the metal inside here starts to let go, this whole thing is pulled out. We got the rear spoiler, which is in need of some help here. I'm not sure what's happened, but it's sort of come loose here, so we're going to have to do something with that. It does appear to be an OEM one. Anyway, we'll sort that. So whilst it's right up here, it then went wide and then back in where it should be at this end. So I've made this template and this little rig of the ratchet ties, and I've pulled the whole thing back in, so it's pretty much into the position it needs to be. And what I'm going to try and do now is get it to retain in that position. So I'm trying something here, and I've just done the first one here. I've got some sheet metal screws, and I've attached a washer to them, and I'm going to put a whole bunch of sheet metal screws up under there and then across here where you see all the white dots. And there's a gap or a groove in here. I'm going to fill that with a structural adhesive, and then I'm going to try and put a expanding foam all in here that I'm hoping is going to grip behind all these washers that'll be here and here all the way along. And by gripping on this, we'll keep this in place and hold this. When I release it, I'm hoping that this doesn't just sort of go pop. Anyway, that's what I'm going to try to do. We'll see if it works. I'm hoping to salvage this. The outside of it looks in great shape. And if I can get that rear section to hold back in position, it's a perfectly usable rear spoiler. I'll clean it up and tidy it up inside here, but let's have a go. See if we can restore it. I have now got all the screws across here with the washers on that I'm hoping is going to provide the grip to the structural foam or the expanding foam I'm going to spray in here. But so first thing I'm going to do is there's a groove at the back there. I'm going to fill that with a structural adhesive that might help just hold it closed, and I'll let that dry overnight, and then I'll spray the foam in tomorrow, or hopefully tomorrow. Let that dry, and then I guess we'll let it go and see what happens. So I'm going to put the adhesive in now. Get that. All right, so I've let the glue dry overnight, the adhesive. I don't know that it's done anything, but I'm going to try. So what we're going to do now is just spray the expanding foam in here, and the goal, the hope is to get it to expand around and behind these screws and washers, and I'll link it together. This will add enough anchor power to hold the whole thing together. So when I release this stays effectively in this shape and doesn't pop out to where it was. Anyway, we're going to have a go. We'll see. All right, so here we are, a day later. I've left this to cure. As you can see, it's cured and expanded. And what we're going to try now is to release these and see if indeed this back wall is retained, or if it just pops back out. I'm hoping this has gripped behind the washers that I put here and put on the back wall here, and holds it in place, because I think it's pretty close to its shape now. I mean, it might be very slightly out, but anyway, we're going to release these, see how it goes. And now fully slackened off, and so far it hasn't gone pop. This might actually be holding. Now, what I've got to do now, of course, is trim all this down, because that clearly won't sit on the back of the hatch the way it is. So I've got to trim it all down, tidy it all up, of course. All right, so far it hasn't gone pop removed yet. So we're starting to trim. I'm using, I just use it, I call it a drywall saw. It's what I use for cutting drywall on that when I'm working around the house. And I've made a template of the shape here, so I should be able to get it fairly close as I run this along here. So I'm just going to keep sawing, and then I've got a file here. Okay, gonna have little bits of foam everywhere now, but we'll get it trimmed up and then we'll see how it fits on the car. Okay, so I've got it Got it all cut now. I've filed the edges smooth with this back surface here. I just used well, they call it a rasp, a very coarse file. It's actually a woodworking file, so that's what I used anyway, and just to make sure none of this was sitting proud of that there. So I think we're ready to do a test fit and see if it works. If it does fit properly, we'll put some paint on here, tidy this up, and it should be ready to go on. Wow. That fits pretty nice across there. Way better than when it was sticking out, you know, like a quarter of an inch past this. It's tucked in pretty nice now. It's just got to go on and get snugged down properly. But yeah, it's nice. I think it's in a good place here. We can clean it up inside and get a couple of rubber washers to go here. I see there's 2 on the brackets here. There's 3 more here that don't have any. And then we'll get it bolted down, give it a good clean up. All right, so 5 nuts to put the spoiler back on, and then I have to clip the trim back in here for bolts. They're all 10 mil socket. Put that back in place, and then there's 4 caps that go on here, and the job is done. Okay, so that's the spoiler back on. As you can see, it's a pretty decent fit under there now. Many times better than it was when it came off and it all split apart. So I'm pleased with that. We've managed to revive and restore the old spoiler. I mean, it's not 100% perfect, but it's the original, and I love that. So pleased that's all done. And I believe for the first time in about 9 months, every part that was taken off this car is now put back on, that it is 100% back together. Still some stuff to do, still got to work on wheels, and there's some small little jobs here and there, but it is actually back together. All right, guys, well, there we go. I've managed to repair, restore, bring back to life the old rubber and foam spoiler. So, I mean, if you've got one and you've had the same issue, I don't know how they all fail. I know how mine failed. But if you had something similar, this may be an option for you to be able to use it again. So, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope it was useful to you. And I hope to see you back here in the garage. In the meantime, drive safe, and everybody, you have just an awesome day out there.